Okay, I'm back. Let's see, solving quadratic equations with square roots. Now we've worked a little bit with square roots, not so much though that we've been solving equations with them. A couple of things that you need to keep in mind. You have PEMDAS to use, order of operations, whenever you are simplifying. That's what PEMDAS is for, simplify. To solve, you actually work PEMDAS backwards. And I know that's a little bit hard for you to wrap your head around, so let me just give you a little bit example here. Okay, so x plus 7 minus 3 equals, oh man, I don't know, 11. All right. So if we were to solve this equation, we have our 3 steps. Move all the x's to the same side. Well, that's already done. Move everything else to the other side. Well, that's just minus 3 here. See, it's a subtract. So we're going to start with it. So we're starting on this end, and that's how we solve equations. So plus 3 plus 3. Now x plus 7 equals 14. Okay, but as we're looking at this, we still have something being added over here. It's the plus 7, so now we need a minus 7, minus 7. So x equals 7. 14, take away 7 is 7. If there had been a number in front of x like a 2, you know that the last step in this type of equation would be divide both sides by 2. So first you add and subtract to move things from one side to the other. Then you divide or multiply to either get rid of a fraction or to cancel out the number that's being multiplied to x. Then you do the exponents, and then you do the parentheses. Exponents lock parentheses in, so you have to take care of that first. Okay, I said that because you're going to have to use that logic when you do your exercises on solving quadratic equations with square roots. All right, square roots. Square root means you take a number and you discover what number multiplied exactly to itself equaled that number. So what number times itself equals 25? Well, 5 times 5 equals 25. So the square root of 25 is positive 5. We would normally stop there. If we were just asking the question, what is the square root of 25, we would be done as soon as we wrote down the number 5. However, when we're solving for x, when it's x equals the square root of 25, then we must include the other half of the solutions, because negative 5 times negative 5 also equals positive 25. So the solution to x equals square root 25 is x's that equal negative 5 and positive 5. In each one of these exercises, you're going to have 2 answers, a negative one and a positive one. Okay, so let's work some examples. How about r equals the square root of 89? Okay, so I would go to my calculator and I would type in second square. See the little square root symbol right above x squared? So square root 89, enter. I'm going to round this off to the nearest tenth. So the answer is 9.4. So r equals negative 9.4 and positive 9.4. Well, if it were that easy, you'd be done in 2 minutes. I'm going to do the same problem again and show you another way that it could be set up. How about r squared equals 89? Okay, we need an answer for r. not r squared. So we run through PEMDAS backwards. There's nothing being added, so there's no subtraction. There's nothing being subtracted, so there's no adding. There is no division, so we can't multiply. There's no multiplication, so we can't divide. Ah, there is an exponent. How do you get rid of exponents? When they are of the power of 2, the opposite of power of 2 is square rooting. So we're going to square root both sides. The opposite of squaring is square rooting. Now I wrote this out, and what do we have here? We have r squared, and we're taking the square root of it. The square root symbol, what it does is it takes that 2 away. Now this is a necessary step for right now because you need to know why you're writing down what you're writing down. To get rid of a square, we do square root. But what we do on one side, we have to do on both. And the square root, all it does is take away the square. So this simplifies to just r. And now we go to our calculator and we type in square root 89, enter, and we get negative 9.4 and positive 9.4. Now our calculator only gives us positive 9.4. You have to remember to write the negative 1 down as well. Well, that's not too bad. I gave you some examples on your sheet. Now what if our equations start getting more elaborate though? So let's look at one of those. How about, let me see here. How about 4k squared plus 18 equals, I'll just put 100. I don't know how this is going to turn out. Okay, start with PEMDAS backwards. What our goal is, get this k by itself. So in PEMDAS, start here. Is there anything being subtracted over here? No. Is there anything being added? Yes. So do the opposite of the add. Complete that step. 4k squared equals 82. Because 100 minus 18 is 82. All right, there's nothing more being added over here. Divide. Nothing being divided. Multiply. Yes. Here's some multiplication right here. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So divide, divide. Those 4's cancel out. Now we have k squared equals 82 divided by 4 is 20.5. I didn't pick a good problem, but it will work. Okay, so k squared equals 20.5. Nothing more being multiplied. And what comes next? Exponents. Yes, here's an exponent. It's the power of 2. To get rid of the power of 2, square root. So the square root of k squared, square root of 20.5. This side is pretty easy. All this does is take the square off. So k equals. And now, in my calculator, second, x squared brings up the square root, 20.5. Enter. Round it off to the nearest tenth, 4.5. It only tells me the positive one. I have to remember to write down the negative one. So 4.5 negative and 4.5 positive. Bada boom, bada bing. That's done. Okay, there were a couple of problems that I marked out on your paper because they look like this. K squared equals negative 5. This is impossible. This cannot be done till you get into Algebra 2. You can't square something and end up with a negative number. It does not work. Your calculator will give you an error. It'll tell you you're a bad boy. You can't do it. Now, if it looks like this, you can do it, because then you would divide by -1, divide by -1, and now k squared would equal +5, and now you can do that. The ones that I marked out on your paper, they're the ones that looked like this right here. Something squared equals a negative number. That cannot be. Well, try these. It's mainly calculator work. You only have a few per day. I know that you can do it, so go ahead and do it. Don't forget, you'll have one negative answer, one positive answer. Your calculator will only give you the positive answer, so you have to remember to write the -1 down. Now, this isn't r squared equals -9.4 and 9.4. It's r. Only r to the first power. Okay, if you have any questions, give me a call, send me a message, send me an email. Hope things are going well with you.